we're doing a 0 to omega challenge. So what we're doing is we're taking a completely fresh alpha account that has done nothing but career missions, which give you about 20 to 25 million ISK, right? Pixel Moon, thanks for the Prime Summon. And we're going to be taking this fresh alpha account completely to omega with station trading only and with 30 minutes a day only. So this is specifically something to be done on the side to either, to either learn how to trade or to do something different in EVE on the side. But also the reason I'm doing this mission right now, or this challenge right now, is because with increased Plex pricing and increased subscription pricing, I want to see how long it takes me to gather enough ISK to actually sub Omega on an alpha account. So I'm not going to be taking any outside help, no skill training outside of alpha training. This is just a completely fresh alpha account that I've, as I said, only set up with career missions. The original intention was to put them all in JITA, as I said, because JITA is just so much bigger. So, 70-80% of all trade in EVE Online happens in JITA and Perimeter, and or the Forge, I should say, the Forge region. But the one simple reason why I decided to do it exactly like last time is not to make it apples to apples, because it really doesn't matter. You should just put them wherever you make the most money. But for the simple reason that I want to keep this simple, and if I put 3 characters in JITA and have them all follow kind of the same strategy, what will inevitably happen is that I will outbid my own characters, or I will forget which character I have traded which item in, right? Because my spreadsheets, I'm going to be using the public Oz spreadsheet to track this, and GIF Assets, the Java application, which I'll be showing later. And inevitably, it's just going to complicate things. So what I've decided to do is I have decided to do it exactly like last time and have 1 character in JITA, have 1 character in Amarr, and have 1 character in Dodixie. And the reason for that is that those 3 areas are the top 3 trade hubs in the game, and really the only 3 where I would suggest you do this. Rens and Heck used to be in the Perimeter, but in terms of volume, they have dropped off quite significantly. So it's really not an option anymore. If you're looking for the public sheet, you can either get on the Discord and look in the FAQ channel. I just linked the Discord link. Or you can, I think, put !sheet in chat here, and that should work as well. All right. So in the end, what I did here is, you see these 3 characters, and I flew them over to Dodixie and Amarr, which is really not a problem anymore. If you're just flying in a shuttle, you can take the short way, and it's really not any more difficult than it used to be. And in terms of skill training, things haven't really changed all that much. Let me just I'll log on to the Caldari character first, and I'll show you what I mean by skill training. While I do that, I can answer some questions in chat. Is there a big difference between the public and your private sheet? No, in terms of the profit and transaction tracking sheet, no, there isn't. I have a separate online dashboard that I show on stream a lot to analyze the markets. That is private, and that is significantly different, but the rest isn't. Are your 3 characters maxed out on trade skills? No. Well, yes, they're not maxed out. The reason they are maxed out is because there really isn't anything to write home about when you talk about skills in when you're talking about skills on alpha accounts that are trade related. So if you go on the trade, if you go on the trade tab here under skills, you really all you have is you have broker relations here, right? That will reduce the broker fees, but you can only train to level 2 on an alpha. So you can do this, you have to do this, but it's not going to make a big difference. On the alpha account, what you're going to have to do anyway is you're going to have to put all your buy orders in the player-owned station, one jump from the hub. So just like we did originally 3 years ago on the original challenge, again we have to do this. If you have Omega skills, if you have maxed out skills, if you have accounting and broker relations maxed, then that difference really isn't that big anymore. So that's why on my Omega trading, I actually don't bother putting buy orders out in Perimeter or Ashab or Botane anymore. I put them straight into JITA. But on an alpha character, you have to do that because the missing skills just make a big difference. The missing broker relation skill. A huge problem you have as an alpha is the accounting skill. So recently, CCP changed it so that and when I say recently, I mean in the past 2 years since the last challenge, sales tax is now a much bigger deal, and it's a much bigger portion of your taxes and fees. So now the accounting skill is really important. On an alpha character, you cannot train this. So your sales tax is going to be horribly large. So we'll see that later when we're trading, but this is just going to be a huge problem, but we can't change it, right? This is basically the reason why you can only trade in if you're doing day trading. So if you're putting buy orders in to immediately resell into the market, profiting off that margin between buy order and sell order, then you can't even look at things that are below 20-30% because that's not going to be worth it, because you lose 10% just to fees alone, to taxes alone. What you can do is you can train into trade three blocks, right? 3 blocks here mean that you can add an extra 12 orders. So that means your total is 17, I believe, on an alpha character. That's a huge bottleneck as well, right? If you're Omega trading, you're used to having hundreds of orders. 17 orders at a time is just a huge limiting factor. So this is also a problem, but maxed out is 3. And then we have marketing. This will allow us to put buy orders into Perimeter with a range on them. So what you do is you put a buy order into Perimeter with a 1 jump range, and that will have most orders that will be fulfilled against your buy order fulfilled in JITA. Some of them will end up all over the place. You have to pick them up, etc., etc. But that skill is also important, and that is it, right? That is literally it. There are some things you can do while running the career missions while you're setting this up. If you decide to run career missions on your own challenge or character, and that's connections, negotiations, and social, those will just help you increase your faction gains faster or increase the gains that you're getting from the missions, but they really have nothing to do with the trading at all. So it's marketing, it's trade, it's broker relations, and you're done. That doesn't even take a day. It just takes a few hours. Right? So that's skills. So nothing to write home about. You can nothing that's going to keep you from trading at all in any way. You're still saving 0.5% in Perimeter, adds up over time. Oh, it's a bit more complex than that, because you also have to consider the fact that you have a huge time value of time impact by putting buy orders into perimeter, because you will have buy orders completing all over the place. And if you're doing large scale trading, then that time also adds up. So it's not as simple as just saying it's 0.5%. It's much more complex than that, and it's really how much you value your time. And if you're someone like me who's spent 18 years minimizing the time they spend in the game by trying to automate as much as possible about this whole process, decision-wise, in terms of which items are the most profitable in the amount of time, then that does matter. But in theory, you're right, Mechanism. Jambam, how long does it take to finish the career missions for Max Faction? You don't. So you mean like one set? What I do is I just ran one set of all of the career missions per character, and that takes about 5 to 6 hours, I think. Harry Eve, skills training is paused. It is because this is an alpha account and there's 3 characters on here, and there's probably the latest character. This was the first character, and the latest character is training right now. Spent 25 minutes hauling back the crap that was sold everywhere. Yeah, see, that's stuff that's just a huge waste of time, unless you like doing that. If you like doing that, then great. It's something to do on the side. If you're just in it for maximum profit per minute, then make your own decision of whether you want to take some time hauling it. What are your thoughts on paying for high-sec buyback? Not something I'm going to discuss today. Generally speaking, it can be worth it if you value your time, and I've made a lot of I think good trades with them in the past, but it's all a question of how much do you value your time. It's not something that you can say in general. It can make sense. So yeah, if you're trading at my volumes, Mechanism, then it's a lot more than 5 minutes. Trust me. Anyway, so for this, we've then trained up the skills. We've put the characters into 3 different trade hubs. That is certainly going to hurt our profits, right? So if you're maximizing your profit, if you want to do this in the quickest way possible, then I still believe that putting all 3 characters into JITA is the quickest way. I'm just trying to keep my sanity, and that's why I'm spreading them out into the 3 hubs, just because it's way easier to manage your orders there, and the characters don't start up hitting each other. That's the only reason. JITA is the place to be, in my point of view. Even if you say, I can get higher margins in Doe Dixie or higher margins in Ammar. Yes, you can, but considering just the volume and velocity of trades and the amount of items that become more feasible due to that in JITA, I think, and my past challenges have shown, that JITA is still going to be your better bet. You're always going to make more profit in JITA, at least if you are following the strategies that I follow. That's just been the case in every single one of these challenges that I've done in the past. So basically, did all the career missions, flew them all out here to JITA, sold all the stuff that you get, the stuff that's not valuable enough, just dump it into the market or reprocess. The stuff that's valuable, actually put up some sell orders if those are items that people are actually selling from sell orders, and then you go there. That means I ended up with around 70 million ISK spread around 3 characters. So that's my starting today at day 0. So about 20 to 25 million in each of the trade hubs. And the strategy that I'm doing is I'm taking those 20 million or so, spreading it across more or less 10 items that I'm buying, And once a day, I log on, maximum twice a day. I log on, I update the orders, I put up everything for sale that I've bought, and I log off. And that's all I'm going to do. And based on that, we're going to see how long it takes me to actually get the billions together to sub Omega. Now, subbing Omega itself is not the same anymore as it used to, because in nowadays we have a lot of sales that are going on. We even have the amount of Plex changing that it takes to subscribe Omega. So, I'm not going to define now how many billions it will take to sub Omega. This is more about getting a feel for it, how long it will take. And we'll do that for a month or two, or however long it takes to get to a place where we all agree now it would make sense to sub Omega. So they significantly changed the cost of adjusting order prices. I'm curious how often you adjust your orders and how often you suggest a 0 to Omega to do so. Yeah, so if you're they did significantly adjust that mechanism, but that was only really bad for a period of I forget how long it was, but it was over a year ago. Once they then went in and changed the relation between broker fees and sales tax, meaning they increased the portion of sales tax by a lot and reduced the portion of broker fees, adding up to your total fees and taxes. Once they did that, it really didn't become as oppressive anymore. So now we're in a situation again where you can adjust market orders again. It's not as easy as it was when I did this 3 years ago. That's for sure, absolutely right. Even though, no, we already did the first challenge after that change. So it's actually easier now than it was 3 years ago. And changing your orders on an alpha isn't as bad now, because broker fees are a much smaller percentage of your total expenses, and overall your margins that you're trading in and your items are that much higher that you can afford to readjust, right? So yeah, if you missed the last is that 3 to 4 years or 3/4 of a year? It definitely has changed a lot. So we're in a place now where if you're doing this challenge, adjusting your orders once or twice a day is absolutely no problem. We're going to be trading in items that have basically 30, 40% margins at the minimum, and over 100% margin at the top, right? Now, that's the game. There's one thing I want to mention today as well, because it's very crucial to this whole thing, and that is this right here. The main tool I'm going to be using to pick items is Adam for Eve's Margin Finder. The reason I'm doing this and not my own custom spreadsheets is because the accessibility of this is much better. You don't have to build your own spreadsheet. Anyone can fill this with parameters, and Ethan has really created just a fantastic tool here, right? If you're wondering, hey, why does Oz's Margin Finder look different than mine? The reason for that is I'm in the dev environment of Adam for Eve. That's not a big secret though. Anyone can get there. All you have to do is go to dev.adamforeve.eu, as I just put into chat, and anyone can access it. Yes, it has some quirks. Yes, not everything is perfectly explained, but it has some amazing parameters here, as you can see. All of this is not there on the production instance. So definitely suggest using the dev environment for this. And this right here is going to be core and essential to running this. Now, I realize me introducing this right now is going to make this challenge even more difficult for me, because what this means is that you're going to all run out, not all of you, but some of you are going to run out, try this with the Margin Finder, and you're going to find the same items that I did. That's another reason I diversified into 3 different trade hubs. And that's another reason why I'm going to be doing a lot of the trading offline, but then sharing the transactions and profits and everything during the stream the following day or whatever. I'm probably going to have to jump from item to item because of exactly that reason, that people will jump on the same items that I do inevitably. But last time it was fine. Now we're a bit more popular on the stream, but we'll see what happens. Austrike, if you can pull this off as alpha, I will be impressed because I feel like exploring makes me money faster than trading, even as Omega high trading skills and tens of millions of cash to trade. Orders just don't move. Well, of course. I mean, guys, I mean, that's clear, right? As an alpha, if you want to maximize your money, probably do exploration. Exploration is much quicker. No question. However, I want to show you not only a way to do this while learning to station trade, but also something that is very controlled in the amount of time you spend. Exploration is terrible for the amount of time you spend because you never know when you're going to find that relic site. If you find it, great. You can have a 200 million day. If you don't, you might waste 3 hours, right? So I want to show you a controlled, semi-active way of gaining an Omega. And this is something that you should be doing on the side, probably not as your main activity in EVE Online. All right. So yeah. Active will always be better than passive. Exactly, Nick Paul. Hey, Nick, good to see you, man. So, good questions and triggered the right answers because that's exactly the concepts that we're going to be talking about over the next few months in this challenge. All right. Just really quickly, what can you see? What can you do with this margin finder? So the biggest thing is you can identify the biggest spread, right? Of items. So which items have the biggest spread? And you can do so by putting certain parameters in the game to make sure, in the query, to make sure that you're finding relevant items only. For example, what you're seeing here in the background is me looking at JITA/perimeter, so the Forge trade hub. I'm looking at items that are trading at least 50 times a day. So, you know, about 2 trades per hour, just so it's items that are moving. Funding, thanks for the raid, appreciate it too. I'm looking at items that are trading at least 50 million a day. That's not necessary. We can drop this down to around 20 million in the beginning, but later on we're going to drop that. We're going to raise that up to about 100 million because you know, we're going to increase the amount of items we trade in slower than our capital increase. So we're going to be trading in higher volumes, meaning the amount of items that are eligible for us to trade in is going to shrink. All right. I have a whole talk on that effect that I took at FanFest. So if you go on CCP's YouTube channel and search for Trust Trading Trillions, I explain the whole which items are relevant in EVE Online trading and which items are feasible to trade in at various wallet levels. That's a very interesting and important concept to grasp. That's just not something that I'm going to be probably going through. Definitely not today, but also not in this challenge since it's very it's going to be very hands-on. All right. But so here, just for the sake of showing, we're looking at items that are trading at least 50 million a day and at least 50 times. And the great thing here is that Ethan in the dev version of Atom for Eve has added a few very, very, very important columns. One is the competition column, right? These and by the way, he added a lot of these after my last challenge. So when we discussed and when we talked about what would make the margin finder even better, you know, we discussed some ideas and he almost implemented everything. So thank you so much to Ethan from Atom for Eve. You're doing a fantastic job, dude. Competition. you can see how often or how many people have updated orders, how many orders were updated in the last 3 hours and 24 hours. That is awesome and piece of information because you can see the red numbers. If somebody keeps updating the orders, you probably want to just get out of that market because you're never going to win if you're a slow passive on the side trader like this alpha challenge is supposed to be, right? The other thing is the ratio from sold to buy from sell. Now, if you've watched my stream before, you know that I talk about this a lot. You need to be trading in items that sell to buy orders, where people actually sell to buy orders and buy from sell orders, because that's the only way you're going to be able to capitalize on that margin, the difference between buy order and sell order price. If you have items that only sell to buy orders or only get bought from sell orders, then you're just never going to be able to participate in the market on both sides, and that's going to be a severe issue. So what Ethan does here is he calculates the ratio between the two. A ratio of 1.0 is perfect. Same amount of buy from sell and sell to buy, and that means you have a market equilibrium and a lot of action in the market, right? So here we have a lot of weird orders, and that's why I didn't want to limit it too much, but at least I'm going from 0.2 to 5.0 here, right? That's a normalized area, right? And just on that is such a powerful query right here that almost all of these items are awesome items for our challenge that we're doing here. Let me quickly catch up on chat. Trading has more potential. The ceiling of what you can earn a month is much higher with trading. Well, of course it is, especially if you're actively trading, if you're speculating and doing all the stuff that I normally do aside from this challenge. Certainly one of the highest ISK making ceilings in the game, period. Can I compare JITA values with the values of another trade hub? Are you looking at the opportunities to haul stuff to another hub for a profit? That's a topic for a whole different thing. You can do that here. This is not the right tool for that, but there's tons of tools out there that can do that. Just be aware that hauling in itself is almost never worth it in EVE Online. And before half of you have a fit on this, we're not going to discuss that today. Look at some of my older clips or streams where I talk about the topic of hauling, or stop by sometime on Saturday where we can talk about some stuff like that. Amazon has entered the chat. Yeah, I flew through Amazon today and in a shuttle and made it all right. So as long as you're not carrying anything, you're fine. In other words, people buy orders and not everyone places their own orders. In other words, people buy orders and not everyone places their own orders. Yeah, that's what you want. You want to capitalize from other people saving time. So that's the margin finder. Again, not going to go into more detail today. That's it. Try it. This is going to be the base strategy for everything. Guys, there's not a raffle going on right now. Sorry. Just so you don't waste your chat messages. So that's pretty much it. 3 characters, all pure alpha, all in 3 different trade hubs: Amarr, Dodixie, and JITA, because that's really the only ones that are eligible. If you're doing this on your own and you want to maximize, again, do this, put them all 3 in JITA, but then you're going to have to find a way so that your 3 characters don't interfere with each other's trades. Because in EVE Online, you can't see your other characters' trades and or orders. So you would have to do your own Stream Corp or do something like that. Stream Corp, Trading Corp, or something like that. You're gonna have to have a workaround. But yeah, Dev Adam for EVE is amazing. That it truly is. Okay, so that's really it for today. I just wanted to quickly kick off the challenge, explain what I'm doing here, answer some questions, and over the next few days, I'll be checking in. I'll be showing you progress. I'll be comparing this challenge with the one we did 3 years ago, etc., etc. I'm going to be uploading all of that to YouTube as well. So if you don't catch the streams, feel free to go to youtube.com/OzEve. Go over there, subscribe there, and we're gonna have kind of like a day 3, day 5, day 8, kind of like we did last time. All right. Is that adamforeve.com? Nice try. It's not. So you're saying if characters are in the same corp, they can somehow see each other's trades. You can see at least your trade history, I guess. But probably the better way would be to use Jeev assets, which is something I'm going to be showing over the next few weeks. That is what I use to track, to download my transaction and trade history and import it into Google Sheets. That's probably the better way of managing that. The in-game interface is just clunky. Thanks, awesome. Thank you for the feedback. You're gonna watch, awesome. Can you upload more stuff to YouTube? I mean, I have uploaded a ton of stuff to YouTube. I upload everything to YouTube where I feel like we are creating new valuable content that fits the YouTube style. What I don't upload to YouTube is kind of, 1 hour random market talk where we just chat, because I feel like Twitch is the best home for that. But anything that you feel is valuable, that you see, that you want to see on YouTube, here's the Discord link, hit me up there, and I'm happy to upload anything.